Welcome to the Spiritgrow simulated Yom Kippur service. Zalman and I are going to guide you through the evening service of Yom Kippur. And although we hope that you'll join us at 5:15 on the eve of Yom Kippur, this coming Wednesday evening, for a live Kol Nidrei, we thought as part of preparing you and getting you into the mood of Yom Kippur, we'll actually do one of the three recitations of Kol Nidrei. My name is Menachem, and I'm with Zalman Werdiger, the Chazan at Spiritgrow. I'm the Rabbi at Spiritgrow. And the purpose of this recording is to help you prepare for Yom Kippur and to get into that mood. The mood of Yom Kippur is one of reverence and awe, and we think that using a bit of spirituality mixed with nostalgia and meaning should actually help us fulfill the preparatory work of getting into the mood of Yom Kippur. So if you're following along with a machzor in order to really become familiar with what is going on, in the Spiritgrow red machzor on page 36, but if you look up the index of whichever machzor you're using, just look up Kol Nidrei and you'll find Zalman about to guide.
We ready?
When you are.
Kol Nidrei v'yesorei ushvuei v'charomei v'koinamei v'kinosei Shasana Miyai Mekipurim Ad Yom Kippurim Sharon Shavisin Betelin Vatalin La Shererin Velokaya Nidarana La Nidrei V'yesarana La Yesorei Mai Hoshvasana la Shabbat. V'nislach lechol adas b'nei Yisrael v'lager hagar b'soicham ki lechol ha'am bishgaga v'nislach lechol adas b'nei Yisrael v'lager hagar b'soicham ki lechol ha'am bishgaga v'nislach lechol adas b'nei Yisrael v'lager hagar b'soicham ki lechol ha'am b'shagaga.
Now, because Yom Kippur actually is not a sad day, it's a day of reverence and awe, there is actually a celebratory component to Yom Kippur in that we celebrate arriving to this moment. It's the opportunity for a hearing. It's the opportunity to invoke miracles in our life. It's an opportunity to have a transcendent experience where our soul is able to access a point of consciousness in its own right and raise us with it so that we can actually have one of the most mystical experiences that we can all year, in which we talk about coming face to face with the King, but this is so much more than coming face to face with a king. This is about coming face to face consciously with the infinite. And of course that requires meditation and preparation, etc. But that doesn't deny the opportunity is here. And therefore we sing Shechianu, the blessing that we make on renewal, on arriving to a new moment, on arriving to a moment of great fortune and opportunity. And therefore we're going to conclude this pre-Yom Kippur Kol Nidrei with the singing of Shechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shema
Eloheinu melech haolam Shecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lizman hazeh 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 Lazman hazeh, lazman hazeh,
Lazman hazeh,
lazman hazeh, lazman hazeh, lazman hazeh, lazman hazeh, lazman hazeh, lazman hazeh. Shecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh, Shecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh, Shecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh, Shecheyanu v'kiyemanu
That's good.
Bravo, Menachem. Thank you so much for that.
I really wish
You nailed it, Menachem.
I wish we could do that live. You know, when everyone's there, the whole energy is. But we're not going to lament on what the opportunity is not. We're going to focus on what we're doing tonight, which is the simulated service, which we would normally have taken the Sifrei Torah around, the Torah scrolls would go around the shul and everyone would have a chance to kiss them, and they'd return to the ark and everyone would be seated. And I actually would probably share a few words at this point, but we're going to move straight into the service. I know, you're holding out for a drosha. Everyone's holding out for a drosha. But
no.
You need the people.
No, I would say that, first of all, I very much look forward to 5:15. Yom Kippur Eve, but I think there are certain things...
Which is when I will do a drosha.
Of course. But I do think, and I think you'll agree with me, there are certain things which, no matter what, they raise a sort of very serious and solemn type of feeling, and so much so that it's not something that we would necessarily feel comfortable recording, the Kol Nidrei, even though...
Yeah.
But I think that, and again... doing that now, even though it was just a sort of a once through, as part of the simulator, just to set the tone, you really start feeling it, you know.
The tunes get you in the mood.
They do.
I mean, this is the power of nigun, the power of tunes, the power of music stirs the soul. And even though it's not Yom Kippur in here, it definitely stirs something and brings us into that Yom Kippur consciousness.
Yeah.
Which.
And I think
it'll be novel. Sorry to cut you off. It will be novel that we go home tonight and we eat something.
Is that why you did this?
I always wanted to know what that felt like. So anyway,
I just wanted to say that I think that it's a special thing, and I hope that it is able to kind of get you at home watching this in that special mood, the Yom Kippur mood.
And of course, 5:15 on Wednesday night, Wednesday evening will be far more powerful because it will be the time, not only because we're doing it together online, but also because it will be the appropriate time that the energy in the world is one that actually begins to open up our soul, as I spoke before, that Kol Nidrei rendition. So if you're with the Spiritgrow Machzor, we're moving to page 42, which is the beginning of the evening service. Zalman would normally kick us off with Shir Malis and then chant those that final line of Hashem Mashiach 3 times. And it's a very, very beautiful statement that he would recite 3 times, and he'll give us that chant because it carries the tune of Yom Kippur that so many of us have grown up with. It's an ancient tune. It's many, many hundreds of years old. And then he'll take us through a Kaddish. But Hashem Mashiach is that Hashem should save us, should deliver us. And what an appropriate way to go into Yom Kippur, asking Hashem, please, take us to where we can't go. When you ask someone to deliver, to take you, to save you, it's because you're at a point that you might be sinking or struggling. And so there's no more appropriate evening like Yom Kippur this year to say, Hashem, hoist us up. Take us to somewhere greater than we are right now. Take us to where we can't take ourselves.
Hashem Mashiach, HaMelech Yaneinu v'Yom Koreanu. Hashem Mashiach, HaMelech Yaneinu v'Yom Koreanu. Hashem Mashiach, HaMelech Yaneinu v'Yom Koreanu. Yiskadal v'yiskadash Shema Rabba Mi'alama divrach Yeruseh v'yamelich malachuseh v'yatzmach b'rekonei v'gorev meshichei Mechayechoin uv'yoimechoin uv'chaye d'chol beis Yisrael Korim v'yimro amen Yisparech v'yishtabach v'yispower v'yisroimon v'yisnasei v'yisadar v'yisalem v'yisalal Shemeh dekut shaprichu Yala min kol berchasa v'shirasa tush bechasa v'nechem asa Damiran bi'alama v'imru amen. Baruch es Hashem ha'mevarach.
Baruch Hashem ha'mevarach li'olam va'oed.
Baruch Hashem ha'mevarach li'olam va'oed.
And then there's that first blessing, which is the awareness that the whole of nature is actually a creation. The whole of nature is something that exists within the infinite consciousness of Hashem, and that everything is exactly the way it's meant to be. The sun sets when it's meant to, and the sun rises when it's meant to, and the moon orbits the earth as it should. And all this is part of a very, very deliberate, particular design. And so when we explore nature, and when we explore the natural sciences, we are actually beginning to really discover the Hashemness that exists in everything. Umavir yoim umevi laila umavdil bein yoim uvein laila Hashem tzavoi Shema.
Baruch atah Hashem amariv aravi.
At this point, we'd be saying the final blessing, transitioning into Shema, and I'd like to take you on a guided meditation. It's a pre-Shema meditation that we like to do here at Spiritgrow, and it's one that we did include in the Rosh Hashanah simulation, and it's one that uses light, because light is such a powerful metaphor in Jewish spirituality and Kabbalah and Hasidic mysticism. And once again, we're going to imagine ourselves as being a part of the light, and we're going to use the source of light, which we'll call the sun, but we don't mean the sun. But we need something that's a source of light that emanates, and we're going to use that as the basis of tonight's meditation. So when you're ready, just settle into a chair, be comfortable, and close your eyes. And just take a couple deeper than regular breaths, relaxing into the moment. And visualize yourself, imagine yourself as light. You are part of a ray of light that emanates from the sun, traveling through space. And you have such humility that as you travel through space, you're invisible. Although you're light, you haven't engaged with anything yet, and therefore you're not illuminating. But you are very much light. And instead of heading towards a destination, I'd like you to reverse that and travel into yourself. Where does that ray of light begin? Where is your origin? And as a ray of light, your origin is the emanator, the sun, the star, the source of light. And if you travel all the way back there, within yourself, you'll find that you meet the sun itself. But that's not your true source, because you don't begin at the edge of that source of light. You're wedged and come from within, deep within the surface. And at that point, you don't exist as a ray of light, but you exist as light itself. Non-expressed light. Light that is awaiting emergence. And as light in that format, that too is not your origin. within the sun and within the source of light, there is a will to express and emanate. And so really our source is within that want, within that will, within that drive to emanate. But even that will and that drive is not our source, because there is something deeper that requires the need to express light. Our source. And even our source has a core. And the core has an essential self, the essence. The essence too is an expression of something even more. And you can keep traveling deeper and deeper, keep finding new cores, new points of origin. Tonight on Yom Kippur, we return back to that point of origin, where everything is truly one. And that brings us to the oneness of the Shema. So you can take a deep breath in and join us for Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai
Because it is Yom Kippur and we are angelic, wearing our kittel, normally the second line of Shema, which is said in a hushed undertone, is said out loud. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchusai Le'olam Va'ed V'ahavta es Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meidecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shitantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha b'veisecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech u'v'shachvecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'oisa yodecha v'hayu letotavois ben einecha u'chsaftom al mezuzos beisecha u'visharecha. The rest of the Shema really goes from layer to layer of recognizing that we have a joy and a love that rests within us, and that love for Hashem, that love for all things that is Hashem, expresses itself. And Hashem says that if we allow that love out and we choose to live our life in the way that Hashem wishes we would, where we engage with the world seeking the spiritual, soulful energy that exists within everything, and we discover that through the mitzvot, then Hashem says, I will make the rain fall in the right time. I'll make the grass grow. And it's not so much a reward as much as it is a consequence. When the spiritual ecosystem is sound, then the physical ecosystem will mirror that and respond in kind. When we are good in the physical world, when we are kind, when we are honorable, when we are doing that which Hashem wants, then we will be good to nature, and we'll be good to humanity, and in turn humanity will respond. And that is a mirrored image of something far more spiritual that's at play. And so the Shema comes to an end with the end of these descriptions of V'haya and Vayomer, and we move into the next paragraph, which is Ve'amuna Kol Zos, which mentions our slavery and our redemption from slavery. And again, like every night we mention this because there is such a humbling realization that we were slaves and that we've gone free. That humbling realization that our life is actually a gift, like all freedom is to any slave. A slave by definition can't free him or herself. And so living a free life is not just an opportunity, it's a gift which we have to seize, and we use it to connect with other people and to discover the Hashemness, the freedom that exists within everything. So Zalman will will lead us through some of the more popular tunes for the last part before the silent Amidah that comes up in these paragraphs of Ve'amunu Kozeisen Michamocha.
Avir bana Ve'en gizra ve'yam suf Ve'yesrat ve'yes onayem Mizay ma'vaystiba Ve'vera v'avana Gaya v'orasai Shibchu Sein kiblu Alayem Hashem Yisrael Chano Shirav V'arabav Yamru Chulam B'yamav I say fele I am malchus harav vanecha v'kayam ifnei mo'eshes eli anu ve'amru Hashem yimlach le'olam mo'evnema Yifada Hashem es Yaakov Baruch Ata Hashem Goal Yisrael.
Normally, if we were together in shul, I'd ask everyone to stand at this point, and we'd read in English, "Our Father, let us lie down in peace. Our King raise us up to good life and peace. Improve us with your good counsel, and help us speedily for the sake of your name, and spread over us the shelter of peace. Blessed you, Hashem, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over the entire people of Israel, and over Jerusalem." And with that, we'd move into the silent Amidah. And because this is a simulation, we're not going to stand here and daven the silent Amidah, but I do want to point out a few things about the silent Amidah, because there are actually 5 silent Amidahs over the course of Yom Kippur. And each of these corresponds to the 5 levels of soul: the nefesh, the base level of soul; the ruach, the part of the soul that animates our emotional capacity; the neshama, which is the part of our soul that really animates our cognitive ability; the chai, which is life radiating into who we are; and the yechidah, the point at which all of us connect to a single point and are all wedged and one within the infinite. And so this is the base level, the nefesh, the part that just animates life itself for us, that functionality that we all experience. And throughout the Amidahs, each time there is the Al-Chet prayer. And the Al-Chet prayer comes up a number of times over the course of Yom Kippur. And the Al-Chet prayer is the one in which we tap our chest. And we're saying Al-Chet, we're saying, for the things that I've done wrong. And there are many, many layers. And over the different Amidahs that we simulate together, I'm going to talk about those. But the one for tonight is just straight up that acknowledgement that we don't always do what's right. And one of the biggest issues with when we do things that are wrong is actually not the wrong thing that we do, but the whitewashing and the nature to defend ourselves and to actually demonstrate that what we did when it was wrong was actually right, and we justify it. And if we saw it in someone else, then we'd actually say how wrong it is. And so when you say the Al-Chet tonight, maybe don't think about things that you've done wrong. Think about things that other people have done wrong, and then begin to identify where maybe you too have actually done things that are wrong in that vein. And once you've seen how wrong it is in others, it's more easy to identify that it's wrong within yourself without whitewashing, without self-defending. And so the first Amidah, and I know that's very, very top-heavy, but we have to be vulnerable with ourselves. We have to be honest with ourselves. We have to be able to take one night a year, one 24-hour period a year, and really take ourselves apart so that we can live with greater confidence all year round and actually be able to acknowledge it. So tonight, what I'd like you to do in the Amidah is look for things that you've criticized in others and then identify those very faults within yourself. And that will allow us to really go deep into ourselves. And that's the al-chet. So you'd finish the silent Amidah, and we'd meet up in the Spiritgrow Machzor on page 58. We'd be skipping the paragraphs that relate to Shabbat, and we'd be moving straight into a beautiful poem called Yala. And you can find this in the index of any Machzor that you're using, Yala. And what I love about Yala is it's a paragraph in which we talk about the things that we've done wrong and the fact that we are supplicating, which is a really old word, ourselves in front of God and really putting these ideas out there. But Yala is elevate. And imagine you looked at someone and said, I've done this wrong, can you elevate it? And while I'm taking the context of the paragraph slightly off, I am borrowing ideas from the Baal Shem Tov, who lived 300 years ago. And he said that whenever we do something wrong, it's a sign of something great that resides within us, just been corrupted. And so what I'd like you to do now that you've finished the Silent Amidah is, how can we not only correct things that we've done wrong, but elevate things that we've done wrong, where actually deep within we meant well, but for whatever reason it came out wrong. So let's say someone cheats in business. It comes from a good place. It comes from a desire maybe to provide for their family. Or let's say we spoke ill of another person. It comes from a good place. Maybe we want to correct that thing within them, but instead of telling them about it, we've told someone else about it. So how can we elevate the wrongs that exist within us? Here's a beautiful nigun that accompanies this particular paragraph of Yala.
Ya'ale tachanunenu me'yerev v'yavod shavoseinu mi'boker v'yeroeh rinunenu Sitkaseinu mi boker v'yeroeh v'dyoneinu avadarev yaleinu einu me'yerev v'yavoi slichaseinu boker v'yeroeh nakaseinu adarev yalem eroseinu me'yerev v'yavoi lemanai mi boker v'yeroeh chipureinu adarev yale yisheinu me'yerev v'yavoi tareinu mi'boker v'yeroeh chinunenu adarev yale zichroneinu me'yerev v'yavoi shideinu mi'boker v'yeroeh hadraseinu adarev.
And there actually are a couple more stanzas to that poem, which you
I
can
think
read
they
in
got
the
the point.
100%. Now, that paragraph's followed by another paragraph that actually comes up multiple times throughout the service of Yom Kippur, throughout the days. both the evening and the day. And that is the paragraph of Shema Tefillah. And we say, Hashem, please hear our voice. Please hear our prayer. And of course, when we say, Hashem, please hear our voice, we're not talking about some ancient God, some masculine character that's sitting in a proverbial heaven on some sort of throne. We're talking about hearing our voice, hearing our prayer. Focus less on who is doing the hearing and more on getting the voice out there. Because Hashem is present. Hashem is here. Hashem is always present. The only one that's not present is you and I. We're always in the past and the future. Hashem is constantly, Hashem is the present. Hashem is also the past and the future. So when we say Shema Tefillah, hear the prayer. Well, let's put the prayer out there. The ultimate prayer would be that we're not remote from each other. The ultimate prayer is that we shouldn't be doing this at all remotely. But you know what? The ultimate would not be that we could be all in shul together either. The ultimate would be if we could be in Jerusalem on Temple Mount together, a united people of all age groups coming together, standing on the Temple Mount, experiencing revelation, experiencing enlightenment because of that connectivity. And so what actually this paragraph finishes with is a recognition that we all have a soul. Before we can truly request to be on that Temple Mount, first we have to recognize that all those different ethnic backgrounds, all those different age groups, all those different stage groups that make up humanity have a soul. And that soul is a part of Hashem that exists within all of us. And the song is Hanashama Lach, that the soul is yours, V'haguf Shalach, and the Parlach, and the body is actually your work. Hashem, you are the soul, and you have designed our body. And each one of us is an artistic creation of Hashem.
Hanashama Lach, V'haguf Parlach,
Darkecho Elokeinu Leharecha Becha La'arayim Ve'la'toivim Ve'yisi Losecha Moy Darkecha Elokeinu each part of the service, like there'll be these songs that we break out with, and there are these themes, and every theme will always be then capped off with the same tune and the same words, and they are the 13 attributes of Hashem's mercy, which we really love to sing together as a group. In fact, you can't really sing it or even recite these 13 attributes when you're by yourself. So we're actually going to say Hashem Hashem instead of Adonai Adonai, because it's such a sacred meditation. These are the words that Moses uttered when he was standing on Mount Sinai for the second time. And he says to Hashem, I wish I could see you face to face. As a living human being, I would like to encounter the infinite in a conscious way, as if face to face. And Hashem says, you can't. Nobody can behold me and still continue to live. The human mind cannot grasp it. Nothing can grasp it. And you expect to be able to live. I can show it to you, but that time hasn't come, Hashem says to Moshe. That will happen in the future. But he says, but what I will show you is my back, whatever that means. Hashem gives Moses an incredible spiritual experience, and then Moshe enunciates these words.
וירא השם יונה מציאתו וישוע ויקרוב השם עדו השם.
Hear the words, ויעבר השם רבנו ויקרא
השם השם
כרחום וחנון ערך אפיים רב חסד וימס נוצר חסד לאלפים נוצר יום ופשע וחטא ונקם.
השם השם
כרחום וחנון רבאים רב חסד וימס נוצר חסד לאלפים נוצר יום ופשע וחטא ונקם.
I'm really feeling this, Menachem.
Well, normally we wouldn't sing it twice, but it comes up so many times throughout the service, but we're not going to sing it each time that it pops up in the machzor, because this is a simulation, not a full service. But that section is then followed by this request for pardon. We say, Slachno, Hashem, please pardon us. And again, following the themes that I've already brought up tonight, before we start asking Hashem for pardon and we have this face-to-face conversation, Hashem is in the present, Hashem is within us, and we are within Hashem. And so if we're saying, Hashem, pardon us, that means we have to be able to find it within ourselves, to pardon ourselves and to pardon others. And these are two very different things. Holding other people to account, but can we pardon them? Can we forgive people? And then on a completely different level, can we forgive others within ourselves? Can we forgive ourselves, sorry? How many times are you overly critical of yourself? How many times do you hold yourself to a level that may not be truly naturally available to you? How many times do you beat yourself up after doing something silly? In previous centuries, such a thing didn't need to be said, but we live in an era of perfectionism. And so we have to pardon ourselves, and we have to be able to pardon others. And then Hashem can find it within itself to pardon us. This would then be something we work our way through, and there'd be another Hashem Hashem. But I'd like to jump over to page 66, and I'd like to sing with Zalman a poem that I absolutely love. I'll just read the first part in English out loud because it really captures it. It's the description that we are so in the hands of Hashem. And you could say, well, it's crazy, Hashem's in control. Or you can say how comforting that is, that even when we're thrown about, it's with complete control. It's within a plan. Like, we are what we are, and we are where we are because that's where we need to be. And so the poet says, indeed, as the clay in the hand of the molder, who when he wishes expands it, and when he wishes contracts it, so are we in your hand, O you who remembers the deeds of loving kindness. Indeed, as the anchor in the hand of the seaman, who when he wishes holds it back, and when he wishes throws it forth, so are we in your hand, benevolent and forgiving King. Indeed, as the silver in the hand of the silversmith, who when he wishes adulterates it, and when he wishes refines it, so are we in your hand, O you who provides a cure for our wound. I love it.
It's definitely this is one of the highlights, I think, of the Yom Kippur evening.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are familiar with the tune as well by now, but it's a stunning composition, really.
V'tzoy soy mekatzer כן אנחנו בידך
חבר וסה ונבוא
זה לבריס הרבה
ויאב מרתף אליו היצר כי הנה גאו אבן ביד המסתיס אוי בירצוי צמיה אוי חייז ובירצוי צוי מחתיס אוי כן אנחנו בידך מחב אביה וממוזז לבריס הרבה ויאב המרתף אליו היצר כי הנה גגזן ביד אחריו ובירצוי סוי דיבק למור ובירצוי סוי דמירה כן אנחנו בידך אני בראש לבריס הרבה ביד המרתפת ליצר כי הנה גאגר מיד המלאך אוי בירצוי זוי אוי חס ובירצוי זוי שילח אוי כן אנחנו בידך ובטוב וסלוח לבריס הרבה ויאב המרתפת ליצר.
Once again, there'd be another Hashem Hashem that we'd sing. But I want to bring our attention to the paragraph of Kholano, which is on page 68. Kholano carries on from where I left off a while back. Remember when I was talking about how we wish we could all be on Temple Mount? And I was describing all the different characters, how we all have a soul. We're all neshamas. We all have a soul, which is Hashem within us. And we all have a body, which is Hashem's handiwork. But this paragraph now focuses on where would we like to be. Not just who do we want to be together with, but where do we want to be. And we don't want to be in Spiritgrow. We want to be on Temple Mount. And so this paragraph finishes with such a beautiful request, which is bring us to the holy mountain and bring joy and allow me to feel joy in the place of prayer. And when we say my, are we talking about Hashem saying, I want joy in my house of prayer? Or are we saying we want joy in the house of Hashem's prayer? And the truth is it's both. Hashem's saying it, but so we want it as well. We would like it because that would be a symbol that actually everything is perfect in the world. Coming together in Spiritgrow does not mean that the world is perfect. It just means our lives are a little better than it is now. But what we actually want is a lot more than to come back together. Once we're wanting, let's want the ultimate, which is the Mashiach, and to be in Israel and to be in Temple Mount on Har HaBayis together in a state of peace and a state of unity.
והבי ישים אל הר קודשי ושימה tefillasi v'havi oisim el harkochi v'simachti b'veis tefillasi Eloi Seyem v'zifreyem l'rotzon ha'mizbechi ki beisi beis tefillah yikar elecha
and Zalman would be crying out Shema Kholano. We're all asking Hashem, please hear our voice. And when you daven at home and you say these words Shema Kholano, which is in every machzor, you can find it in the index, and you say Shema Kholano, Hashem, hear my voice. But for Hashem to hear our voice, we have to put our voices out there. It reminds me of that beautiful story which I love to tell at Spiritgrow about the boy that came into shul and he didn't know how to read, which was not uncommon in the old country. And he's a child. He's learnt about the importance of the high holidays. And so he just comes in and he's sitting at the back of the shul, sitting next to his father. And he says, Aleph, Beis, Gimel. And he's reciting the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. And he's just pointing out the letters on the machzor page and saying, oh, that's a Daled, that's a Hey. And when he finishes, he says, Hashem, I don't know how to read. I can recognize the letters. Please accept them and assemble them into the words that I'm meant to be able to pray today. And so he had to put it out there. He has to put the letters out there. He has to put whatever he knows out there. Shema Kholano, hear our voice. Put a voice out there. Let Hashem then receive the voice. And let Hashem actually then turn our prayers and turn our state into something that is far greater than we can achieve. But because it's coming from such a sacred place within each one of us, it actually will resonate on the eternal eardrum in the most beautiful way.
Shema Kholano Hashem Eloheinu Yichus v'rachamim aleinu v'kama v'rachamim v'ratzavoin es tefillas avenu. Hashem Eilecha, Hashem Eilecha ben Hashuva, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu Gekedeh, Hashiveinu, Hashem Eilecha, Hashem Eilecha ben Hashuva, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu Gekedeh, Hashiveinu, Hashem Eilecha, Hashem Eilecha ben Hashuva, Chadesh Yameinu Gekedeh, Hashiveinu, Hashem Eilecha, Hashem Eilecha ben Hashuva, Chadesh Yameinu Gekedeh, לשמנו, לשמנו ככתר. אל תשליכנו מלפניך, ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו. אל תשליכנו מלפני זקנה, כי לא יזכורך ובנו. אל תעזבנו. Hey, die, 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 dum. Hey, die, 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 dum. Hey, die, 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 dum. Hey, die, 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 dum. Hey, die, 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 dum. Hey, die, 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 die. Hey, die, 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 die.
You know, we normally would not have sung that at this point of the service, but it reminds me of the story, of the famous story of, it's famous because I tell it at Spiritgrow. It's the story of Shmuel Munkus. Shmuel Munkus, in short, was a very, very pious Jew. He was a chassid, going back 200 odd years. And he was a very, very deep character, but he did have a sense of humor. And he would sometimes put himself out there and he'd do things that would be considered spiritually different. But he did hear 1 year before Yom Kippur that there was a family that was stuck in a prison because they had not been able to pay their rent, a Jewish family. And again, this is in the old country where that was a crime. You didn't pay your rent, you sat in prison until the community bailed you out. Anyway, he walked into a bar and he clapped on the table, and this is right before Kol Nidrei Yom Kippur. He claps on the table and he says, I need to raise money. How much money do you need to raise? However much, 300 ruble. And the people in the bar were not of the Jewish faith, and they saw that there was an opportunity for funds. Someone calls out, I'll give you 50 ruble if you scull a jug of vodka. And he sculls it, and he sculls another one. And eventually he raises the money required, and is sloshed, is off his face, and is singing, is dancing, and he makes his way eventually to whoever he had to pay the money to be able to redeem the Jewish family from prison. And he shows up to shul, and he walks in and is drunk and is happy, and it's Yom Kippur night, and is banging on the bimah and is singing Simchat Torah songs, and is joyful, is merry. And the people are very, very nervous. Imagine a full shul and a drunkard walks in, and no matter how pious you are, you're drunk, you reek of alcohol, and is banging on the table like it's the happiest day. Anyway, the Grand Master, the great Rabbi, the Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Zalman of Liadi, encourages people just to leave him be. And eventually, Shmuel Munkus passes out. He's so drunk. When he comes to, the Alter Rebbe says, what happened? Why did you come to shul drunk? He says, what? Didn't remember a thing. He says, you came to shul drunk and you were carrying on like it was Simchat Torah. You were dancing and singing on the bimah. He said, listen, I heard that there was a family that was stuck in prison and they were going to be there over Yom Kippur. They couldn't pay their rent. So I went to the local pub and I got drunk. And in the process, I was able to raise the money required to be paid to them, to be able to redeem them from prison. And the Alter Rebbe said, for us, tonight it's Yom Kippur. But for Shmuel Munkus, he's already done Yom Kippur. It's already Sukkot. It's already Simchat Torah. So I take that story because I feel that we're doing Yom Kippur a little differently. We don't need to go too hard on ourselves. We need to work our way through the machzor. We need to sing the songs. We need to read the words. We have to connect with Hashem. But it need not come from a sad, broken place. We don't need to go as heavy on ourselves. We need to rejoice that we've got the opportunity to connect with Hashem in this truly unique and different way. And so I appreciate the Zalman actually saying the words, Hashiveinu Hashem Elechem and Hashuva, bring us back to you, Hashem, and we will return, renew our days like that of old. And that we're not crying out, our life sucks, please redeem us, but rather we're being nostalgic and we're being happy. We know that it once was great, and we are davening to Hashem tonight that we should return there, and we're getting excited because we remember the good old days. That's what Zalman has taken us through with this song of Hashiveinu. But now the service now takes a dip, and we move to page 71, where we talk about Slachlonu, Mechalonu, Kapelonu, that Hashem, please pardon us. And now we'd move into another round of Al Chet, and there'd be another song which we'll sing just this one time before we finish the evening service, and once again it would be repeated again in the daytime service. And we might revisit it, but it goes like this. Slach lanu, mechalanu, kapelanu, ki yanu hamecha ve'yato Elokeinu, hawanu vanecha ve'yato avinu, hawanu avodecha ve'yato Adonenu, hawanu kelecha ve'yato chelkeinu. La 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 And that paragraph is followed by Oshamnu, which is the paragraph that we tap our chest, and each word of confession, there's one for each letter of the Hebrew alphabet, indicating that there are so many ways in which we could do things wrong, and in so many ways that we can actually grow from A to Z, from Aleph to Tov. And even though maybe we don't relate to all of these crimes, we have to feel that within humanity there is the capacity to do things wrong. And we know that people do things wrong. And if just because we may be perfect, and we may actually be people achieving a lot and doing so in a very positive way, if the next person is not, that is our responsibility as well. And therefore, on Yom Kippur night, the Arizal teaches us, the great Kabbalist from northern Israel, Tzfat, 500 years ago, he says, if there is another person who has done things wrong, that is our problem as well. We can't relegate people to a prison system. We don't actually have a prison system in Judaism. Rather, we have a rehabilitation system. And so if there are people that need rehabilitation of character, the onus is on us as friends or as members of society to try to help them out. Oshamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibanu, Doifi, Hevinu, Vishanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tafalnu, Sheker, Yatsnu, Rakizavnu, Latsnu, Maradnu, Niyatsnu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu, Oiref, Rashanu, Shichasnu, Tiavnu, Ta'inu, Titanu. And then those paragraphs are followed with the famous Al Chet, which we've already said in the silent Amidah.
Should have brought Beryl with us.
Well,
I think he's
Beryl's
past that,
voice
isn't he?
has cracked.
Who was it? Noach's turn now.
But Noach has been practicing, and actually one of the things that he was most sad about not having Yom Kippur this year was he's been practicing. He wanted to sing.
He was taking over. This was his year.
So we will bring him in for the next recording, and he'll whack out of Al Kulam because he's really been looking forward to being able to sing together with the community. But we'll just do one together.
I'll sing you in. ביוהינים ובלא יועדים ויעל כולם אלוהי הסליחוס Tzlach lanu, mechal lanu, kaber lanu.
And the Al-Chetz run through a whole series of different behaviors that we as people can improve within ourselves. And the remainder of the service runs through a whole lot of different themes to do with doing things wrong and transitions into Hashem, do us a favor. Do a good for us. And the reason why we come to this, one idea why we come to this is because we can blame our surroundings for our behavior, but only after we've taken account. So we can say, you know what, I've done things wrong. There are things that I need to improve. But you know what? A better environment would actually support me in my growth. So we don't say, I did things wrong because of the people around me, but rather, I've done things wrong, I want to grow. Hashem, create a better environment around me. Give me the strength to find better friends. Give me the place to live. Give me the space in which to grow within myself. Asay l'man shmecha, do it for you. Do it for who you are. Do it for your covenant with us. Give me the chance to be a better version of me. And that would then finish with Rahamana, which is a beautiful song. Are we going to sing Rahamana this evening?
I was thinking of going straight into our...
So we'll do a Rahamana tomorrow, but tonight we'll do Avinu Malkeinu, which finishes the evening service. So we're going to sing...
we'll do a quick Rahamana, why not?
Let's do Rahamana day, ane lani, oy vey aneinu. Rahamana day, ane lani, oy vey aneinu. Rahamana day, ane lisvirei liba, oy aneinu. Rahamana de'anei l'svirei liba oyaneinu oyaneinu. Straight into Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu Avinu Malkeinu Avinu Malkeinu Chaneinu Baneinu Ki ein banu ma'asi Hashiveinu tzedakah v'chesed Hashiveinu tzedakah v'chesed be'oshienu Hashiveinu tzedakah v'chesed Hashiveinu tzedakah. As I said on Rosh Hashanah, Avinu Malkeinu is the realization that Hashem is both our Father and the King. It's like walking into a high court. You're on charges of all sorts of crimes, and you walk in and you know that the judge is a very, very strict and very conservative-minded judge. But the judge is our Father. The judge is our parent. And so, as conservative and as strict as they are, we know we've got a certain protexia. And we've come the whole way through the service tonight saying, I want to grow as a person. Judge me, but judge me as a parent. See me as a child that's striving, that's trying, and find the compassion to give me the space to grow. You know, sometimes parents do have to discipline their children, but we do so in a way to help our children grow, and that's what we're asking Hashem. Whatever it is that we deserve, give it to us, but give it to us with love, and find the nicest, kindest, bestest way for us to grow. Don't punish us. It's not the theme in Judaism. It's help us grow. Asay imanu tzedakah v'chesed Asay imanu tzedakah v'chesed would be closed, and Zalman would take us through one final paragraph of David Mizmor, where King David says, "Who can ascend to the temple of Hashem? Who can climb this mountain?" And he's referring to Temple Mount, which he had actually taken control of, and his son Solomon would actually then build the great Temple of Solomon. And he says, "Someone with clean hands and a pure heart." And while on Rosh Hashanah we had a different way of looking at this paragraph, I suppose after this service and after this journey that we go through on the evening of Yom Kippur, we say, actually, I have a pure heart. I do want to ascend that mountain. And we finish the service with that sort of theme, so that we move into the morning service with this idea of being in the state of clean hands and a pure heart, wearing the kittel, wearing the white, moving into this state of purity that we're going deeper and deeper into. And that would then be finished with a Kaddish, and we'd move into Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adoin hakol V'seis gedula liyotzeh bereshit Shelo yason l'kiyei haratzos V'lo yisam mechos adama Shelo yisam chelkeinu kohem V'goyer aleinu kechol amoinam Shehem mishtachavim lehevel v'larik ואנחנו קוראים משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ששונה את השמיים ויסד הארץ ומושב יקרי בשמיים ממעל שכינה סוזוי בגבי מריימים ואלוהינו עינת אמס מכנו אפס ולעשי ככסו בסרסי וידעת היום בשבוע צלבך Hashem Elokim Hashemayim Mimal V'Mitachas Einoid V'Yad Kein Nikaf Lecha Adonai Eloi Lirois Meira V'Seferes U'Zecha La'avir Gilulim Min Haaretz V'Ha'ilim Koresi Koresum V'Sakein Ha'olam B'Malchus Shaddai V'Kol B'nei V'Asoi Yikuv V'Shmecha L'Havnes Elecha Kori Sheyaretz Yakiru V'Yeh לא קויש וסבל, כי לך תכרע, כל ברך תשבע, כל לשון לפניך שמנו, יחרו ויפלו, ולכבוד שמך יקייתנו, ויקבלך עליהם משום מחוסך, ושים לך עליהם לא ילם בועד, כי יום החושך יהיו לו מיד, תמלוך בכבוד. ככסוף בסיירסך, השם לך ויעלם בוער ונאמר, והיה השם למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד. Shema, 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 Echad. Al tira mipachad pisai, u'mishoyas reshoyim kisavai, u'tzuletzaves u'vadabru dava v'layokum ki imanu gev, ve'atiknani צבעני אסבול, אני אסיסי ואני אסף, ואני אסבול וימלא לילה צדיקים יועדו לשמך, ישבו ישרים אספניך. At this point we'd close our machzorim and we'd begin to wish each other Shana Tova, and we'd be coming off quite a high. And I can't say that the high is there right now. But one thing that I did notice that I would never say in shul is that I noticed that Zalman, you've got a white Yom Kippur strap for your guitar.
It looks white. I think it's a bright pink that's faded.
It's a faded
but
pink.
But for a reason.
It's an appropriate... Well, pink is a very appropriate color for Yom Kippur because white is chesed and red is Gvura. Chesed is kindness and Gvura is judgment and strength and separateness. And the hybrid of those two is Tiferes, the harmony.
Wow.
And harmony is pink. But we
Wow.
want a light pink because we want more chesed, more kindness than we want gvura. Anyway, that's brilliant, and you would not have got that in shul because we'd never have a guitar in shul on Yom Kippur. But tonight is just a random night where we have chosen to simulate, and I hope that this really has helped you get into the spirit and will help you prepare for Yom Kippur night. And we'll see you in the next recording where we're going to simulate a Yom Kippur morning service that's tailor-made for what the Yom Kippur this year would be on a Thursday morning. And we look forward to seeing you at that one as well. So, Shana Tova.
Gemar Chatima Tova.
Gemar Chatima Tova. We should be indeed inscribed and conclude that inscription should be concluded to be for a good year.